It's Thursday, February the 15th, and this is your Barbados Today afternoon news update. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Thanks for joining us. There are early hints from Attorney General Adriel Brathwaite that Barbados is unlikely to receive favorable reports from the United States for its efforts to combat human trafficking. Speaking at the start of a workshop on human trafficking in the Caribbean this morning, Brathwaite expressed concern that the report is not often fair or accurate.
It does annoy me in all seriousness that someone sits in Washington, writes a report every year, changes a very little in the report, and then determines the fate of 300 Barbadians, 300 citizens here by a stroke of a pen. So we're not compliant because we have not prosecuted anyone. So your job, Mr. Shepherd, with me wherever you are, is to go and find someone to prosecute so that the U.S. State Department will say that they're one. It doesn't matter if you have the evidence, it doesn't matter if they're guilty. Someone in Washington will then say, fine, Barbados is tier one, they prosecuted someone. It does not make a lot of sense. It really annoys my spirit.
Brathwaite, however, stressed that Barbados and the region remain committed to combating the problem and urged the officials who will be discussing the issue over the next 2 days to come up with practical solutions to stem the growing problem of human trafficking. In other news now, the Barbados Secondary Teachers Union declares it's not playing politics as it stands firmly behind demands for an urgent meeting with the Ministry of Education. Following a packed meeting last evening at the National Union of Public Workers, teachers gave the government until next Tuesday to discuss the rise in school violence. General Secretary of the BSTU, Leslie Lett, insisted that the teachers have been forced to insist on the talks since a promise made 2 years ago by Education Minister Ronald Jones to set up a committee on violence in schools has not been met.
Safety and our security is not a priority of the ministry. There's no two ways about it. For 658 days to elapse after you've been promised a committee shows that you are not a priority. And priorities always reflect values. We are not a priority. 658 days, and we're here on the 12th of February 2018, which should be 656 days after. Our husband saying, it is now time to strengthen the security arm in schools. And they are moving swiftly after 658 days. And we are to rest assured about these measures. These measures are secret measures. Ms. Best tells us what measures cannot be put in place. Our husbands tell us what measures, but they're secrets.
And BSTU President Mary Redmond says, given the growing level of deviance in schools, the committee is critical to resolving the issue.
Because of the fact that we know that some of our children fear no one. It has to be one that involves stakeholders outside of the traditional areas from which we originally, or historically, I should say, drew our stakeholders from. It has to include, as John was saying, police, social workers, church, union, ministry, community, PTA, all of the persons who can influence what has to be a fundamental change in how so many of our people, especially the young ones, think. Yes, students' councils for sure.
Local ice cream manufacturer Biko Limited is set to construct a new manufacturing plant in another 6 months. Word of this from the company's executive chairman, Edwin Thirlwell. He told reporters at a news conference outlining the company's performance last year that Biko is in talks with the government to set up the $3 million facility.
While producing around the region has worked very well for us, I would think it worked very well from 2010 right until last year. And at the end of last year, we began to see faults arising in our supply route. And Suriname had capacity problems. Trinidad's got capacity and hard currency problems. Jamaica never came on stream. They are now 2 years in arrears with their program. So we have to secure our supply. And so while we'll continue to work with our friends around the region. So we have to make sure that we get the duty-free concessions that we previously had.
Thornwell reported that the company's performance was flat last year, and with an election around the corner, he says this year's outlook is uncertain, but he's confident Bico will hold its own.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
Welcome back with news from the region now. Trinidad and Tobago's Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley says the terrorist threat to Carnival was no joke. Last week, police revealed they had credible information about a plot to disrupt Carnival, and 13 people have been detained. At a news conference yesterday, Dr. Rowley revealed that there may be legal challenges facing the state. More in this report from CNC3 Television.
At a news conference today, we asked Dr. Rowley whether law enforcement was close to laying charges against those being held.
I am aware that there are legal challenges, and because citizens' rights are being interfered with, there will be legal issues, but I leave that in the realm where it belongs. We do have a structure in this country. The rule of law prevails and will continue so to do.
One senior criminal attorney told CNC3 that under the Anti-Terrorism Act, someone detained can be held for a reasonable amount of time, but it does not state a specific period. At today's news conference, Dr. Rowley also sought to clarify the involvement of the United States. He says its law enforcement officers were not involved in any operation on this country's soil. However, he said they were involved in the intelligence gathering.
There was no U.S. personnel involved in those operations. However, with respect to the gathering and sharing of information, this is a continuous process, ongoing between Trinidad and Tobago and our international partners, including the United States. So there's no contradiction there.
Dr. Rowley, who had just finished a cabinet retreat, also addressed those who believe that the threat was a joke.
I don't expect that this would be the last time that we would face these kinds of challenges, but our security services, I don't know that we have actually faced this particular level of activity, but they would have learned and they also were prepared to respond.
And on the international scene, the teen gunman Nicholas Cruz, who allegedly opened fire with a semi-automatic rifle at a high school in Parkland, Florida, was today charged with premeditated murder for taking the lives of 17 people. Officials say 14 other people were wounded, 5 of whom are suffering life-threatening injuries. Students have been recounting the horrifying experience.
I heard screaming. I heard about 5-6 gunshots. We thought they were firecrackers because it sounded like them. We weren't sure what was used. And we heard the police yelling. We heard banging on the doors.
17 Julia 5, I have the gunshot victim.
Right below me on the first floor, I heard shooting, and I saw 2 guys running. I went to make a right, and I just ran, and I had my book bag on my back just in case I got shot from the back. It would go through my book bags and my books. I ran to where there were students and teachers, and we went to Westmead, and then I jumped the fence and I just ran.
Hands, put your hands up. Please. Put your phones away.
And then we were huddled in the classroom, and then we moved to the closet, and we were in the closet for about 30 minutes until the SWAT team came.
And I saw some bodies, and it wasn't good.
People that you recognize?
Yeah, that was my friend's teacher.
It's just different when he heads home, you know? You read about it You see it when it happens in other places, but when it's your backyard, when it's your child that's hiding, it's just a little different.
And that's news, but for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper email updates or like us on Facebook. We are also on Izumi Media in bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. You can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Have a fantastic day.